Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Azagar here. I'm bringing to you the uh, the APAC third place match between AP and DOC. So I hope you guys enjoy. Right now, we are just waiting on the match to start, but I can show you the pick ban. Whoopsie daisy. Alrighty. The pick ban is not particularly surprising, but still, I am a bit worried. A lot of AP goes for kind of the same setup, but they saved the Shenji Grenadiers this time. Okay, let me just go through the whole thing before I uh give my yeah. AP rolls a 3, Doc rolls a 5. That means Doc chooses first. Doc bans Kuruk Castle, AP bans Wall Fort. Wall Fort is the usual, Kuruk Castle is the usual, I believe. Then Doc chooses Harbor City. Not a not a terribly not a this is a quite a usual thing. Normally, when Warfort gets banned, it would have been Harbor City or Hailong Fjord as normally the popular, but I think Kuruk Castle has kind of been rising in popularity as well. Then we have the Bailu, otherwise the White Elk Fort the Redux one. Doc bans out Imperial Pike Guard, Iron Reapers, and Sunwood Phalanx. Safe picks the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry? Interesting that they would safe pick it. I mean, I would have just left it up to be a band, mostly because there are other options for cavalry. But with banning out the Sunwoods Phalanx, again, like if you ban out the Sunwoods Phalanx, you could use basically any cavalry. But if you don't ban out the Phalanx, the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry is probably your best bet. Every other cavalry will not do as well if Phalanx is on the play, um, in play. The AP's choice to again ban Halberdier Sergeants, Halberdiers, and Metallators. Well, I mean, like the Halberdier Sergeant and the Halberdier ban was the same as the last time, but it's very interesting that they would ban these two particular units. I can understand if they ban just Halberdiers, but Halberdier Sergeants as well is extraordinarily interesting. But they also ban Metallators. They're not Balkaneti Gunners is their actual name in game now. Metallators is an old name. That's not a particularly effective unit. I do not see very much good play with the Balkaneti Gunners. Safe picking the Shenji Grenadiers does open up a little bit of range play, and I do hope we see some Shenji, mostly going for the grenades, but do not forget they still have some range firepower. A little bit of poke goes a long way. Now, I'm always for reset because when everyone is equally bad is more fun. That everyone is equally stuffed with best shit. Yeah. I'm all for the reset. As I said before, the open letter, the changes that are incoming, I don't particularly care. I don't particularly care what they say. I want to see what they do. The actual changes that come, I want to see what happens. But to put it simply, CB has been going on too long that they need to start reworking things, taking things out that doesn't work or needs to be reworked. And the mastery, terrible. Should have replaced the veterancy systems. Even if they didn't replace the veterancy system should be removed. The leveling system should be removed. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, on to the first battle on Harbor City. So we'll get Harbor City first, then the Bailu. Um, Doc coming out with fairly interesting setup. I mean, the Corteliers is They safe picked the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry, but only two people picked up the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry, which is extraordinary. AP actually goes pretty cav heavy. We're seeing plenty of companions and plenty more Zwanji Heavy Cavalry. So I'm I'm wondering whether or not it's some kind of weird mind game where AP was probably expecting way too much cavalry and probably tried to go on the defensive with more pole arms, but again, Medaus are not particularly popular because they're not very effective against infantry, especially since we still have Lancelots and now the Silidars in play. Both units are very effective against the Medal. Nevertheless, I mean, wow, maybe AP did learn their lesson after fighting YYY yesterday with just the sheer number of cav that just overwhelmed them. Let's see how much they learned. Honestly, their play on the field battle leaves a lot to be desired. It does tell me that their cav play is a little bit weak in comparison to YYY. Probably not in comparison to Doc. Just looking at the beginning unit difference here. 604 here to what? 704 for 704 for Doc and 745 for AP. So that's 41 units above. That's about a single phalanx unit, otherwise 2 units of cavalry. Or 1.5 if you use companions as the standard. So it does look like AP is looking to destroy the left and the right siege tower. Down goes the left siege tower, down goes the right siege tower. Middle siege tower taking nearly no damage. Also, we have the front gate being pushed by farmers, interestingly enough. In terms of just leadership, I think the serfs should have been a much better pick. Not to mention, with their healing herbs, makes it very much more difficult to deal with. While they're healing, they get that 20%, and they heal for an additional 1,500 now with mastery. Middle siege tower does get up onto the wall. Front gate does get broken down. We'll see if Doc does a play here. They have a contingent. Looking at that front gate, we have one spear from Doc moving in. Just probably scouting about. Some of these troops are very good. I don't even know where they're aiming it from. Could possibly be from the side here. Quite a few artillery has been used by AP, not very much by Doc. Plenty of resources. We have 9 trebs now as another one comes down. Honestly, it didn't work. That's fairly upsetting for... That should be fairly upsetting for Doc here. They're still using trebs on the wall. There are some positions where I am skeptical of why they're placing them like that. Did he aim wide, or is that just an unlucky treb? My goodness, a very unlucky treb. Doc has to be one of the most unlucky teams right now to miss twice with a treb. These trebs are extraordinarily valuable, but at the same time, trading an artillery for a treb is not a bad trade in my book. Especially since on Harbor City, trebs are fairly ineffective in a lot of positions. That is upsetting. The fire mixed with the black powder grenade. Rattans just light up like no other. Although they are a tier 2 unit, they can be effective in play. I think I would love to keep some Rattans around. especially if you're going for some kind of split-off contingent. Now, it's interesting that Doc is making a move on the left-hand gate. I think they might try to go for the supply point as they're pushing. The resources from AP should be waning right now, unless they commit the last 5 artilleries. I don't think they'll be able to destroy the siege towers anymore. Doc does make a move in the back line. Just the companion cavalry for AP out on the field. Tries to catch. Whoa! Lancelot's right on top. Does catch a fair few. Taking out a 10 whole companions. This supply point is closed, by the way. It is not open. Opens up fairly even there. The remaining 17 takes off 7 from the companions. I don't believe... Whoa! AP does catch the companions. Does look like the hero probably died. Massive retreat from AP as they are taking the A point. The contingent here is fighting. They're fighting hard, but they're getting surrounded. They should be taken out fairly soon. But the good thing here is that Doc has skipped all the heartache of the intersection. Zwanji Heavy Cavalry going to go in. Does a big slap. Unfortunately, does get halted inside the Silidars and Lancelot Knights. Probably a combination of both stunning the cavalry. I think one of the Wu-Weis were at the front just got absolutely boned by the Wu-Wei, by the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry there. Doc doesn't wait very long pushing up, but they are a bit scattered. Some guys just respawning now. Nice to see some Zycelian militia. Very important unit. Talking about important units, we've got Shenji and Zycelian for... Ooh, we also have Showdiners for AP. The defenders having... Oh, the Zycelians got switched off. That's not good. We have 2 Zycelian... Oh, no, hang on. We have 1 Zycelian militia and 1 Siphonarioi for Doc here. It's going to be interesting how AP plays this. They don't have their own Zycelian militia. Could prevent getting exploded. 1 Shenji grenade could also be extraordinarily effective. Could take out both the Siphonarioids and the Zycelian militia. The raw blunt damage is way more effective, I believe, in instantaneous damage. But if you're going for large area of effect, Siphonarioids and the Zycelian militia are probably the best. The ongoing fire effect allows you to constantly CC the enemy every 5 seconds for 3 seconds. Pretty annoying, if I do say so. Doc switches over towards the left-hand side. We'll see what AP plans to do. They also have a Zwanji Heavy Cavalry in reserve. Good to have cavalry out on the field. Just when you activate them, they'll need to come in at a good angle. But from the front is not bad either. A Treb here on the corner. Probably going to hit good. Oh. Onto the whoa! Siphonarioids are here at the front, getting burned out the front line instantly. But the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry comes in, cleans up most of the infantry. Silidars also walked up. Doc off to a really good start right now, but pushing on to the supply point still difficult. We see the Silidars did make a headway, and the Medaus clean up on the right-hand side. They're going to try to push right onto the supply point. Shenji did bomb, not killing, but probably severely wounding a lot of units here. A good shield wall setup. Going to be very difficult for Medaus to punch through that. Ooh. Companion cavalry coming up the rear. Barely getting past the Medaus, but pretty much ineffective as they did not take out what they needed to. We have one Siphon Arrowhead left. Doesn't mean that the companions did actually get on top of the Siphon Arrowheads. No one's making towards push towards the base just yet, and I'm gonna check the unit scores right now because Doc is getting cleaned up here. There's very few left from AP in terms of units. They either need to start dying or clear this supply point off. They have Medaos here at the front, but the Silidars should be able to clean them up. Zwanji Heavy Cavalry comes in the rear, gets caught again on the Wu Wei this time. I think the Medaos were facing the wrong direction, only got a couple of hits. More cavalry comes plowing through. I think it's just overwhelming the members from Doc as most of the heroes have died. The supply point now completely cleared up. Doc trying to keep it on suppression. It's going to be a bit of a rush here for AP to get back to the base point, but we got some cav en route. Probably going to have to easily deal with the Demez Pikemen, Demez Spearmen, sorry. Demez Spearmen doing really good job against the companions there. Taking off a fair few. But the base point is safe. Both sides taking super heavy losses. I do think that in terms of advantage right now, I think Doc has slightly up. We'll see. We'll check what kind of units both teams are bringing or have available. Cap here, empty from AP. Still got Rattan Marksman actually on the field. Does look like our top dual blade here has Jet Diners and Shenji. I'm not sure how much Shenji he's got. Alrighty, both sides still has actually a good amount of higher tier units. I think Doc is actually on the weaker side now looking at the composition. It would be much wiser for Doc to make use of the heavy shield unit and get a good line presented. But gotta be careful about that Shenji. Who has the Shenji? No, Nota. Nota has the Shenji out. Wow. Shenji is going to be fairly annoying to deal with. Boom! There goes a grape shot. Shenji grenade goes over. That's a lot of damage. Also takes out most of the Rattan Marksmen. Not great. Doc's gonna have to replace that unit fast. Ooh, backline. We got... Wow, Fenry beats out Iron Cap Scouts. Not the usual, I would say. I don't think the Iron Cap Bow Riders are very effective, but they are being annoying. Getting caught in the backline there, but our front line here, Wu Wei holding strong. We also have a massive charge coming out from the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry. Cleans up most of the front line there. I think a couple of the Silidars still survive. ISG surprisingly survives. A slow push now from Doc. Concentrate your forces. The Mole is trying to survive just long enough to take out more of those range. Another charge from the Zwanji Heavy Cavalry, but this time stopping onto the Men-at-Arms. I think Men-at-Arms is going to carry the day here for Doc if they can push through. But the range firepower out from two Bocavs is... Whoa! We also have a rear charge from the companions. Should easily clear up the remainder. But a very interesting hold by AP. I think the Rattan Pikemen with the Iron Cap Bow Riders severely underestimated there from me. Though they did have a contingent of Medaos and now five Murmillones. But as I suspected, AP is on the up and up. Got plenty of cavalry still on the field. Gonna easily clean up any infantry they run into right now. It's gonna be is it gonna be impossible? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 permadeath coming out from Doc right now. We got one, only one from AP. Doc is almost completely out of units. Just probably a few tier 2 units that would actually make an effect. Otherwise, the rest is serfs. For the last 2 minutes, I do believe it's just going to be a hunt for AP. They have an absolute advantage, and I do not believe that Doc is good enough to change that. But yes, indeed. We're looking at the Iron Cat Bow Riders doing a massive job at annoying the enemy. The harassment is forcing them to make a play, but that Prefecture Guard gets taken out. Here comes a charge by the Courtiers, but it gets stopped somehow by a short sword in the back. Probably a good old smack from the Thunderstrike. One by one, Doc will be hunted down. I do think that Companion Cavalry's their speed makes it very easy for them to catch up. We have two heroes fighting in the back here. Which one's better, spear or pike? Does look like Friends is better than either class.
A walk in the park.
We also have a glaive here. Got caught by the... Getting caught by the marked for death. How many left? Just the longbow. Whoop, hang on. Longbow. He is no longer a longbow. Can he last 30 seconds? Somehow. He is doing a really good job, but I think this will spell the end for him. Down he goes. Is that permadeath? Oh! No, it's not! One person can respawn. Oh, my goodness. Thank goodness he spawns immediately. Let's see if he lasts the 5 seconds. I bet he will. There's no way he's gonna die. Oh, he might. Oh my goodness! That 1 second rune, that 1 second invulnerability allowed the pike to last that 1 second extra. But well done all planet. A really good effort from Doc, but I think they should have cut their losses when they realized that the push towards the supply point was going south. I do like the fact that the Shenjis did a really good job at bombing some key units. The Rattan Marksman can be very effective and cost-effective, but the Shenjis just eliminating them in that engagement, before the engagement, in fact, was very devastating. I do think it's very important to scout the enemy as much as possible. Keep your units moving. Packing them up, behind the wall there was not a very good decision. You can definitely tell which guys had the heavy units. You can see the damage taken just skyrocket as it kind of flips over. But yeah, not having the Shenjis probably did a really good job, and companions. Yeah, as you can see here at the beginning, a little bit of skirmish. Ooh, sacrificing that contingent here. Not a good start. Not a good start. But that did get them straight in. They got the wall, they got the supply point. That means they hit the second phase early. The push towards the supply point, forcing AP to react. Mostly a trade, except for the ending section where they kind of just got completely pushed out. And obviously, taking that Shenji bomb early, absolute massacre at the end there. Multiple cavalry charges from the same Zwanji heavy cavalry, I believe, and then a dragged on fight for the finish. I love when there are flexibility in setup. Doc, there is some left to be desired for sure. Definitely couldn't handle what AP was bringing, and AP definitely had a really good setup. They had shields, they had pike units, and they definitely had shock troopers. Mainstay elite infantry, really good at fighting against other infantry. But most importantly, they still had access to very powerful ranged units in the Shenjis. And very important indeed is the Zwanji heavy cavalry. Lots of cavalry coming out from AP. Gotta watch out. Gotta be careful. I think Doc really needs to hone in on cavalry if they're not going to bring a lot of cavalry themselves. The heavy infantry play is not viable while heavy cavalry is in play. It's simply not. It's just too effective to throw cavalry straight into an infantry pile and get away with it. Especially if, since you're working in a team, they're probably going to be distracted by some random shield, pike, or other infantry when that cavalry rocks up. And because they can rock up from the front, the most terrifying thing is when you can't see past the front line. And again, if they're coming from the rear, even worse. Rear guard definitely needs to be a pike unit. You saw that companion cavalry coming in at the end. I know it was at the very, very end, but you always got to keep in mind that someone wants to come up behind you, your sides. If you can keep all of your enemies in front of you, and you can see them and see what they're bringing, the fight will be very much more easier. But because of the amount of cavalry coming out from AP, the flexibility and the zone control needs to be perfect. Otherwise, Doc's infantry is going to be left vulnerable. I do hope we get to see an exciting second battle on Harbor City. Do remember, this is a best of 5. We'll get to see at least 3 battles. Now, on to the second battle of Harbor City. I'm going to hope that this unit select is a little bit different, but we'll see. Doc could go for an all-in play onto the wall if they go full infantry, but it doesn't look like they're going for that. Lots of companion cavalry coming out for Doc. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 companion cavalries. I suspected a bit more. I think this is similar levels of what they did before with 2 Zwanji heavy cavalry. Again, I don't know why they would safe pick Zwanji heavy cavalries in this case, while they only use 2 of them. Unless those 2 are very important for their setup, I'm not sure what Doc was playing with the picks and bans. It does look like AP does want to keep the Medaus around. Not particularly effective against infantry, but they're tanky enough. Certain units will be very difficult for them to finish off, but I think as long as they have that much cavalry, they just need a holding power, which is interesting because the Sunward Phalanx should have technically been a better unit at holding the infantry, but the tankiness of the Medal actually makes them perfect to slowing down the enemy and holding them in place. instantly trebbing to... Whoop, come on, explode. There we go. Man, really upsetting if you throw the treb and you don't kill both of those. You can set it up so you can try to get all three of them, but I don't think they're probably going to be too worried about that. Instead, we have a Culverin here at the front, probably going to destroy the Hawatchers. Doc committing quite a few artillery straight away. 7 artillery being placed down by Doc, going to destroy the siege towers. His left hand. Just this siege tower is getting destroyed right now. The middle one also taking quite a bit of damage, but the left, this one here on the right hand side, not at all getting destroyed. Not fast anyway. My goodness. You'd think that they would have trained for this? They have 3 culverins here at the back, and they can't, and I don't think they're making it through. Which also makes me wonder, because Harbor City didn't used to have this thing here, did the developers put this scaffolding in order to stop this from happening? And we do have a dual blade going for the back there. Gotta be very dangerous to try to clear off the remainder, but good Treb takes out 3 of them. I think the musket bombs alone could destroy it. Or not. Oh, there we go. Last shot from something.
First blood.
Doc comes out with a Sally. We got 2 units of cavalry, 1 heavy prefecture, 1 iron cap scouts. Heavy prefectures are much more terrifying, much more harder to deal with as well. Not to mention they can get 100% extra defenses and 50% extra damage. Whoa. Run with cavalry. Unfortunately, the companions catching up to them. Even with their 12 speed, can't continuously outrun cavalry when they need to, when they keep taking hits like this. Doc down 2 cavalry so far. Not particularly a good start. I didn't see them take out anything significant, just slowing down this initial fight. More trebs onto the artillery placed down from by Doc. Lots of artillery already been used, 6 left, but AP has plenty of resources still left to go. What is this? Oh, right-hand siege tower does make it to the wall. As you could tell, that was not getting destroyed very fast. Probably also destroyed anything that was thing. Right-hand siege tower normally is a pretty good siege tower to push up with the team. The Rattan pikemen taking quite a few hits. Sending in the Lancelot Knights this time. Even if you get hit, sometimes you just gotta accept that a unit or 2 is gonna die. If you keep slowing down too much just because you lost a unit or 2, you're going to lose more over time. This is what the power of range, it's pressure. You want to minimize your losses and maximize your engagement. Doc makes a full retreat off the wall once all the siege towers make it. AP does not follow immediately. Capturing the A point. We'll see what kind of setup from AP. Doc Also moving away from the supply point and shifting into a base. AP deploys 2 mortars. Very interesting to see. Do they deploy more? Dock is a little spread out, but it's way too far away. If a push does come down to the supply point, I don't think they can reinforce in time. AP is on the far side as well, so Doc will notice if AP makes a move towards the supply point, but Doc has to move fast. I think this is actually fairly interesting. AP, again, going slow, using some resources, but I don't know why they haven't realized that Doc has retreated. They're scouting, they're just standing there for free. Again, it's always just this weird thing. Sometimes they don't know what's happening. They expect the enemy to be in a place, but they're not. This is lack of information now from AP. The two armies are so far away from each other. The mortaring is completely ineffective, and I'm pretty sure they should be scouting with the mortar shots here. They should know exactly how many units are in this first section. Does look like the call to move in towards the supply point has been made. Whoa! Left-hand supply point in fact. They don't even bother, but Cap goes for the right-hand supply point. It would be foolish for AP to take a fight here. Mostly because they can't get onto the supply point without going through an entire army. They do swing back, though. Too far away to actually see anything. Moves up through the center. A good position to scout out which side is weaker. You don't want to go through this section, mostly because you're up against a corner. The widest street is the center street. Gives you a lot of room. If they set up right here and can blow out both of the sides and then choke off one of them, they could flood one of the angles. Well, when I say one of the angles, I mean the right-hand side. They just need to make sure that they surround and destroy. Some counter mortar fire coming out from Doc. Fairly effective, I would say. AP does make another move towards the left-hand side. I think they might go for it. Siphonaries, they do spot the Siphonaries. They pull back. Oh, this center section might get caught. They do not fight. Very teasing on the edge here. Zanji heavy cavalry going around. They need something to block off. This secondary force, but it's going to come straight in. Oh man, I don't even know. Siphonaries is in the back line for Doc, burning up that pile, but the first holding force is just getting demolished. Those medals did not last very long. A mixture of Silidars. Also, double medals get beaten up by the Lancelot Knights and Silidars. Right now, push straight onto the point. AP, I'm not sure what you're going to do. You're going to Zonji Heavy Cavalry just goes straight through the center here, doing an amazing job to clean them up. Doc
Kraliyet mensuplarını koru.
stomping out the push.
Deny our strength.
Whoa! Nice dodge. Good Treb. Hits hard. Whoa! Hits really hard.
You should know me, my
Doesn't
lord.
take out even more of the Mermulones. Ouch. That's got to be painful. Down goes that Palace Guard. Palace Guard. Surprisingly, also, the Zonji Heavy Cavalry was not that effective. Getting stunned by something. I think the companions stunned cavalry.
Arena time.
Boom! Friendly fire Treb there. Right on top of your Zonji Heavy Cavalry. But still, they are wreaking havoc. Doc sends in the companions, catching most of the Zonji Heavy Cavalry there. Good trade, I would say.
Child's play.
I'm not sure if you caught two of them. But the cavalry play from both sides is absolute mayhem. Just running into a lot of things. Zonji Heavy Cavalry beats out the Medals. Surprisingly, also beats out the companions who get stuck. Oh, no, never mind. There's 15 of them. They just got caught on a corner.
A walk in the park.
Swinging back around a third time. Doc doing an amazing job just catching a lot of the heroes out in a bad position. I mean, a lot of the units out in a bad position. Gonna have to be careful. Got Wu Wei coming in for the rear here. They need to take out the Rattan marksman, but they're too far away. Shenji also too far away. This shooting zone also just wreaking havoc.
Efendimiz'i
The front line not
onurlandıracağız.
making any progress. Again, Medals are great. They're not really good pushers. Slowly, AP gets crushed. They finally jump onto the Rattan marksman. Just the heroes beating out, killing both of them. Lancelot Knights eventually wins the day here, but it's still Medal versus Medal. We also have Lancelot Knights in the back. Doc is losing their heroes. What is happening? Oopsie daisy.
A walk in the park.
This is not a good. This is not good for Doc. Ah, well, maybe not. Maybe not that bad actually. I thought they lost more heroes than that. Turns out it was the other way around. AP lost way more heroes than Doc did. But maybe once all of the units have cleared up, it looked like AP was just catching out the heroes that overstayed. Not that it mattered too much, because even if they die, they just respawn with units. Ah, oh, my goodness. There is only companion cavalries, and there's only 10 of them left. 12 of them as well. Left for AP. We still have a whole unit of Medals and most of us Silidars and other Silidars. What's going to be super important here? Whoa! I take that back. One of Doc members is permadeath. That's no good. That's no good at all. You also had 2 units. Could have probably been very important. I definitely do think that a good play for AP right now is to kill off the heroes. This hero right now, I'd go in and catch him. But we got Zychelian Militia. 2 of them. Well, one of them's only got 10. All of this Rattan's about to burn up. You're not going to survive very long under the raging fire. Here comes a Cordelia charge. Gonna clear a center, gonna clear a push towards that center massively. But
Destroy them!
what is surprising is the Silidars at the front now, carrying the day. I think if they can slow down the push. Oh, never mind. The longsword takes out the Rattan marksman fairly easily, and the entire formation just breaks down as the heroes from AP getting cleaned up here. It's 1 to AP, 0 to Doc. This is the second battle, and as you can see, it does look like Doc's gonna close out this battle on Harbor City. Both of the defenses actually working out.
A walk in the
And they said that Men-at-Arms against heroes were gonna be too weak. I think if anything, the 50% damage, less damage against heroes basically did nothing to probably, well, also, you are a bit weaker here on the CBL. But on the grand scheme of things, I think the leadership increase did the most harm to the Men-at-Arms. I kind of knew that, like, the Silidars and the Medaus were going to be the most difficult things to deal with, but my goodness, they seriously, Silidars right now are seriously a pain to deal. Alrighty, now we have 1-all on Harbor City, and that is what I like to see. Harbor City's not a very easy map to attack. It is much likely that a forward defense will always have a higher likelihood of working out. Doc did well. Good control. AP, your movements to pull Doc away, great. I think if you were just fast enough, you could have caught the left. I think if you delayed just slightly longer. The thing here is that I think Doc could have been caught in the center if you waited just a fraction of a second longer to head back. Or maybe even if you did head back, they were ready for you. So it's just like the moment that middle section battle kicked off, I definitely do think Doc came out on top there. It was pretty even for the second fight, and the last remaining with just leftover. I have no doubt that there were at least 3 or 4 key units left over for Doc there. 2 Medaus and 1. Oh well, I mean there was also the Zykelia militia, but like again against your Rattans, they burnt up real fast. You did very good job though. Very good job, both of you. Sacrifice of cavalry in early game, not particularly great. Misplay for a Doc, I believe. Again, big catch here in the center, followed up with a secondary fight. Oh, I mean, like a little bit of skirmishing, in fact, actually. I didn't realize how long this fight lasted. Yeah. The middle section fight went on for a really long time with a lot of skirmishing. Then finally, another push. A lot of cavalry coming in from the rear, coming out from AP, though. And then finally, that last ditch effort with just the remaining. You see the just stark difference, the quality of units, not to mention just getting completely countered by the Zykelia militia. Your Rattans were probably not even a threat. But yeah, just to recap, Harbor City both teams winning their defense. It was a map chosen by Doc, which is interesting. You'd think that they would do better on the attack, but in fact, they did better on the defense. But both teams did. I think Doc was just not ready for the amount of cavalry that AP was deploying in their attack. I mean, sorry, in their defense. I think Doc did take a note in their next one, but the key here is the infantry battle. Doc was definitely set up in a much better fashion to avoid getting completely ran over by Cav. Maybe 1 or 2 units get ran over by Cav, but they avoided a disaster scenario. Which is interesting, because if AP didn't rush so much, cleaned up that back section, they could have probably won the first fight. Even if they couldn't push towards the base point. I think a lot of CBL teams underestimate how powerful the death respawn is on the first go. On the first go, a death respawn is insane. And the amount of damage you take from multiple battles, you should have some kind of play here where you avoid taking unnecessary amounts of losses. A lot of times in CBL, players are throwing away units that they could have otherwise saved. I do understand that, like, sometimes when the unit is too small, it's not worth bringing out. And there's also the fact that, like, if it's less than, I believe, a third of the unit, you can't even bring it out anyway. So, it's tough. It's really tough. Even just a few Iron Reapers could clean up so many serfs in comparison to just the serfs themselves. But when you have whole units, that's always the best. Alrighty, here on White Elk Fort, this was the map chosen by AP. Old Planet reduces the number of cavalry they are deploying. Still a high number of cavalry. I think they only took off like 3. Still got key cavalry coming out from Dock. Not as many as I would expecting. Only about 6. 4 companions, 2 Zonzia heavy cavalry. We got plenty of rattan marksmen. But only 1 Zychelian militia? Interesting. Zychelian militia is there's no Zychelian militia nor Siphonari for AP here. That does not bode well. Or am I missing something? Normally it's I mean, if this tells me anything, Doc, if their Zychelian militia is effective, they will win easily. These are very powerful units that teams who haven't utilized them normally fail. I've rarely seen a team that doesn't use Siphonaries or Zychelian militia. They have either one or the other. But maybe the Shenjis will make up for it. We have 1 Shenji, 2 Shenjis. We have 2 Shenjis. Not particularly a great number. You got what? A possibility of 4 grenades in total? Takes about 30 seconds to throw a second grenade, though. Very unfortunate. Very powerful tool. It's just the frequency is just really low. Although the longbow might not do very much damage to heroes in that case. I still would not test them. I've been shot by a lot of longbows, and I'll tell you right now, it's very upsetting getting hit. I am quite interested to see why they have decided to use culverins to shoot down the front gate, even though that they have a battering ram about to smash it open. Right hand siege tower about to make it to the wall, left hand siege tower, and middle siege tower. This is the right hand one, this is the middle, that's the left hand. Since there is no point, normally defending teams do not try to defend. Where'd he die? Did he die in the front gate? I'm just confused where that one died. Whoa! Another member from Dock is about to die. Every death is fairly important. Brutal. 2 deaths from Dock. Not a spectacular pickup, but I mean, this could be fairly important later on. Hey, thank you, Temple Tart. Thanks for the raid. Welcome. Hope you guys can enjoy the 3rd placement match between Doc and AP. We are on our 3rd battle here. It's 1-1 right now. It's going well. Both teams seem to be better at defending. I'm surprised that both teams' attack on Harbor City failed, and not by a small amount, by quite a big amount. When it comes down to it, the difference for defending on Harbor City was like 2 or 3 units. With 2 or 3 like high tier units. So you just had in both cases you just had like one. Oh, I mean, in the case of Dock defending, you had like 1 Silidar killing off like hundreds of surf units. But this is the first of the 2nd set of matches, so we'll at least see another Bailu or White Elk Fort. So we have entered this like bombardment phase. Let's just see whether or not Doc can avoid taking too many losses. There's no stream delay because I'm not watching this live. We're using the observer function, which has inbuilt delay in it. Oh, that's very scary. Even just heroes alone, I mean, you could definitely walk over there and smack it. Doc does take out the mortar and gets out of there. Some good hits from AP. I normally think mortaring is just fairly ineffective because the defending team could just give up space. But to weather the storm, that is a choice. We're looking at unit losses mounting. And on units that I particularly don't think you want to lose. Though they are probably hitting more of the lower tier units than I suspect. Both of the Rattans are basically half. Not particularly great to get hit either. Mortars also have a fire effect, which is increased by 5 times because Rattans just suck against fire. Alrighty, we have a formation set up here. Heavy shields. A good Shenji grenade straight into that back, but I don't think there was very much to worry about. The Medails are completely scattered. Heal comes out early for Shirt Diners. Surprisingly, they are using the Medails. Both teams are using the Medails as some kind of holding force. The center line of AP pushing way up. Siladar's just crushing that blue way. Now the back line is fairly important. We also have the Siphonaris. Shenji completely exposed. Lancelot just gets straight on top of them. We have Companions smash the center, but get cleaned up by the remaining Siladars. Siladars walked all the way around to flank. AP looking very strong as they clean up this fight. Whoa! A lot of the... Too many have pulled off. We have Lancelot Knights actually holding out. Just one unit of Lancelot Knights just being very pesky. As finally the leftover Lancelot Knight finally die. I think the trade here was in favor of AP, but not by much. Not by much.
Child's play.
But we can take a look with... Very quick look. Alrighty, I may have to eat my words here. Alrighty, the trade looks really good for AP. And now my least favorite section to navigate around. Very hard to get a good camera angle around here with massive trees that have leaves for days. In another 2 weeks, man. In another 2 weeks. Well, that's for TW purposes, but for all technicality, we don't technically know because we don't know when the new season starts. But for territorial war purposes, it finishes on... it finishes 2 weeks from now, which should technically be the 1st. Or I mean, like, it should technically finish on the 2nd. Like, the start of the 2nd. Nerf trees! Yeah, get these trees out of my way! Alright, both teams. Wow, I did not realize how many artillery AP used in the first section. Now AP using a just monstrous amount of artillery. Can they get into the pocket here? Shenji throws over, hits nothing, unfortunately. I think if they can peek... Whoa! The mortars just slapped that Medal that moved. The... Oh, man. They're trying to get in. But, surprisingly, the Murmulonas did not get touched throughout that. Big hit onto the Palace Guards. Definitely don't want your shield units to take too much damage. I would get them out of the way. Trying to throw some grenades over, but didn't make it. Didn't quite make it. Oh, no. You lost 3 of them. Get them in a pocket, man. We have a couple of the barricades here at the back being destroyed. I do think it's wise for AP to open up this back section. I think it's more beneficial than stopping the defenders trying to make use of it. Oh, that is brutal! Rattan Marksman gets taken out. There's only 7 of them left. Not a great, I mean, sorry, that's a great unit to take out with a mortar. Very easy to kill. Single mortar hit, even just the explosion should be able to kill them. If they don't die from the initial explosion, the fire will kill them. Now, I think we should be coming to the end of the mortaring section. The second mortaring section wounding Doc heavily. So I don't think Doc's going to be able to withstand this next assault. They've chosen to kind of weather the storm. And it's a scenario where it's just like, I would never weather the storm this much. I'd take a couple of hits and get the heck out of there. Just want to know which direction AP is going to go from. I think AP threw a unit in the center here, getting caught. Shields directly facing each other. But off to a massive start. Big Shenji grenade. Again with that bug with the longsword. Oh, heal comes through. But the Wu Wei leaving that section. I don't know where they're going. Zhuangzi Heavy Cavalry makes it all the way through. I'm not sure how effective it was. But those shield units tried to brace against it. Too bad they don't stop them. Just the shield units left. We got some companions coming through. Doc makes it all the way back to the back line here. I think this is a clear victory for AP. Just the infantry barely holding on. ISGs are surprisingly very difficult to kill. But we got some cavalry coming in for AP here. And finally, the controller of these ISG does go down. Left over, Medals. These Lancelot Knights want to get straight on top of the Medals. Can the Medals hold against them? Oh, cannot. Even wounded, the Lancelot Knights still take out that Medal very easily.
Child's play. Child's play.
Oh, very surprising. They stopped the supply point with having Rattan Marksman defend on it. Hero from Doc gets caught. Can he get finished off here? Oh, he does. Down he goes. Alrighty. A very bang-up job from Doc weathering that storm of assault. The only problem here is we still have a fair few high-tier units, and I think even if, I mean, look at this. Doc, you did really good. Like, an amazing job. But you still have to deal with quite a few high-tier units now. And it's a lot less than what you had to deal with before, since you still had your own units. I think the Wu Wei and the Shenji, well, you got Medals here. The Medals really have to catch those companion cavalries coming out from AP in order to make a difference here. One of the most difficult units that's probably going to kill is the... Oh, straight in. Vermiolones. We have fights on multiple directions right now. We got Prefecture guards holding the back line. The Lancelot's getting straight on top of the center. AP does seem unstoppable as their Lancelot Knights and Silidars just clean up that front line. We have cavalry come in for Doc. Unfortunately, they're going straight. Whoa, they made it all the way through. I think the Medals unbraced at the wrong time there. The Wu Wei finally comes in for the engagement, but runs straight into the Lancelot Knight, who uses their rapid advance to avoid getting hit by Brutal Sweep.
Child's play.
I think a couple of heroes went for the supply point there, but with all said and done, the main point is being taken. AP will probably win their attack. Gonna go down. We could see a finish with the next battle. I'm fairly excited to see whether or not Doc can win their attack on Bailu. It's very unfortunate. Doc did an amazing job there in that second half. Really destroying a lot of the advantage that AP picked up early on in the fight. But just the remaining, like, They picked up like 11 units in the first fight, and then when it came down to the second fight, it was almost like it was Doc picked up like maybe 18, 20 units, and finally for the finish, it was just they just needed to deal with the 8 or 6 units were that were of higher tier. Too bad 2 of them were companions, and well, I mean, honestly, I don't know how you're gonna deal with Lancelots or Silidars in their current implementation. They are terrifying. Um, Iron Reapers are not in play, so that is also just would have been a very difficult unit. Nearly any of the tier 5 infantry is just really difficult to deal with. Cavalry is about mix. As long as you just don't get hit with their abilities, you're fine. But I am excited. I'm excited to see if we come down to a field battle. I love field battles. But if AP can end it on Bailu, that's fine as well. I do think, I mean, coming into this, I did think AP was the better team. So my money is still on AP, if you guys are wondering. Tell me if you guys are going for Doc, and why. But seriously, after getting beaten by so much Cav, by YYY, AP picking up Cav so much is very, it's not surprising. It is definitely not surprising. I definitely want to see the final battle, but you're going to have to wait a week for that. I want to see the unit setup for the final battle. That's the most interesting thing. But we definitely see a lot of bans on the Phalanx, though. Alright, we're just waiting for the 4th battle to allow us into the observer mode. It has already kicked off, so we just gotta wait that 3 minutes before we can start observing. So what are you guys' predictions? AP ends it with a 3-1? Or is it gonna go 2-2? And we're gonna go down to a field battle. Do you think Doc can win their attack? Let me in! Let me in! That's taking unusually long. Oh, it looks like the third, looks like the placement for rank 3 on Americas and EU is also kicked off. Alrighty. This is the 4th battle between Doc and AP. AP 2, Doc 1. Still plenty of cavalry coming out from AP, but another reduction. I think they lost another... Oh, no, I take that back. There are 4 Zanji heavy cavalries and 6 companions. The surprising pickup here is the Iron Cap Bow Riders, using them over the Iron Cap Scouts, but could be a leadership issue. Doc losing 2 more of their companion cavalries, which is very interesting. I don't believe... They're going to have to deal with the infantry somehow. Not very many heavy shields, and there's not that many heavy infantry. There's a lot of Medaus, though. for dock. So if they're going to go for an infantry battle, they're relying heavily on the medals here. Um, they still have the rattan marksman, quite a interesting unit. Their damage over time is potent. It's unfortunately their damage overall their damage up front is just not that powerful, especially since they don't have the very powerful rattan poison doctrine. Nevertheless, never underestimate a ranged unit. They can, especially a ranged unit that has extra effects. The one thing that is always underestimated, especially since I underestimate it, is the slow. That slow is so painful. But the damage reduction is also pretty painful. But I seriously never want to get like 7 stacks of that poison plus the slow. It makes me feel like I'm not moving at all. In fact, it makes me feel like I'm moving as if I got hit by Dance of Death. Dance of Death, which applies a 7-second 90% slow. Probably one of the most brutal CCs that is not a, well, I mean, out of the slows, that is the most powerful slow you can find in the game. Besides just the straight up immobilize um, from the javelins, but that's through a doctrines. And I can't remember if that affects heroes. If it does affect heroes, that's hilarious. Alrighty, trying to destroy the walls. We got Trebs onto the artillery point straight, natural artillery straight away. Boom! Good hit. Good hit. Strangely enough, was a longbow. Was a dual blade, now a longbow right now. Shooting down. Slows, well, didn't actually slow it, but killing off a couple of the surf units could be effective for long term. If it does come down to just surfs. Having a buffer unit can be very good, but low cooldowns makes it very difficult to make use of buffer units to absorb, how to say, powerful skills. Doc takes for the wall. Did see this before. Well, other teams do this before. I think a bombardment is about to start. Destroys the front gates. Destroys the wall and side wall. Right-hand wall gets destroyed. Left-hand wall not destroyed yet. Not that they don't have artillery for it. They just don't destroy it. Can be fairly interesting why you wouldn't destroy it. Unless you're not making use of that left-hand side. Good movement from AP, moving out of the bombardment range, keeping this section of the wall interesting. Well, I say out of the bombardment range, but I take that back. They're giving it a shot. I think they can gonna hit. Bam. Directly onto those Lancelot Knights. Doesn't kill, but probably severely wounded right now. Especially if you get headshotted. We got a Treb incoming. Onto the Royal Janissaries. Nothing lands. Whoa! One lands. Lancelot. Oh, 2 lands. No hits, though. Very unfortunate. We got a Ballista. Something even more terrifying. I think the Ballista is probably the most terrifying out of all the things. And then just gets immediately exploded by what? Oh. Probably a mortar here. Probably got destroyed right there. My favorite hiding spot, by the way, just in the front gate. If you're getting bombarded here, I just hide in the front gate. It's close enough to the A point, and if the attackers come down off the wall, you can instantly challenge them. But they do have a ballista. That's going to be painful for them if they want to stay inside that gate. So it does look like they got the areas covered. Score not showing up, by the way. What score? Oh! Nah, don't worry about that. I don't have... That's something that I don't have. Like, it's a text thing, and they put this in here as a UI, so it's just easier for their tech guys. I don't use it. I think I should. Honestly, I should. But it's just too much work for me, so I just don't. So sorry about that.
First blood.
But if you want to know the score, it is 2 to AP, 1 for Doc. It's the best of 5. We got a little bit of scrap. Good the Trebs hit. Trebs it's in the center, but it does look like good victory for... Whoa! Follow-up just takes heavy hits here. AP makes a move down. Wow, just residual Trebs just smacking the those units. Oh man, battle on multiple front. I do think those... Whoa! We got Zwanji Heavy Cavalry getting caught here on the front gate. I don't know where you're going, but it looks like both front lines are kind of pushing into each other. Zwanji Heavy Cavalry again. Where are these Zwanji Heavy Cavalry coming from? From the back supply there. And we also have Wu Wei in the back as well. Ranged units getting sandwiched. AP grabbing a absolute advantage right now. Don't think they lose. I don't think they lost that many. Doc losing an entire set of units. From what I can tell. My goodness. I think, oh, another fight somewhere, but that Lancelot gets taken out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow! 4 units and 2 half units. Compared to 15 unit loss. Doc has no chance right now. The unit difference is just remarkable. I've seen people drag back the unit deficit, but like after a fight like that, my goodness. I think the cavalry really forced... I think the cavalry was really ineffective, but whatever happened on the infantry front just went in favor of AP so hard there. Whether or not Doc was just not controlling the infantry well, or whether or not cavalry did come through and I wasn't paying attention. Doc makes a second attempt. This is a good time to go slow. I would be scared of my own front gate at this point. AP does do a massive retreat, giving up A point. Doc doing everything in their power to catch something. Wu Wei takes a super heavy hit. I don't think they're gonna be out though. I think it's gonna be a half squad for now. Medals do get taken out though. So they caught 1 unit. 1 unit is still something. Not too bad that they'll still need to make up for probably at least 9 units. Maybe 8. Maybe 8. That's if they don't lose their palace guards here. My goodness, the jewel blades are a pesky bunch, aren't they? The shuriken throw and the bleed. Like, the shuriken themselves don't deal that much damage, but the bleed over time I mean, it would take like 10 shurikens to bleed someone to death, but it can hit a lot of people. I don't think there's a limit. I don't think there's a particular limit on the bow shuriken for the dual blade, unlike I think it's 2 per dagger for the chain dart. Oh, brutal. Takes a heavy hit. How many do you lose? 2 more. Probably down 15. Yes, we are. Lost 7. Ah, just barely. Just barely. They gave it a best shot. The exact same thing happened to Doc when they were in this phase. AP looks like they're going to weather the storm. Not the smartest of moves, by the way. But sometimes you got to. Any weakness, that means Doc's just get straight on to the point. I would definitely try to tease the AP a little bit. Get some guys across here, see if they want to come in and present themselves. They still have 4 artilleries and 6 trebs. Little cool pocket here. We've also got some alchemists. Oh my goodness. I don't think anyone's died just yet, but man, that must have been painful. Oh! Going for the back section. Could see some artillery come out? Maybe? Something? Got a little bit of pokey. The terrifying thing here is that there was Shenji in the back section here a little while ago. If they were still here, they could throw straight onto this. Ooh, holding back. Boom! That's what I like to see. That back section, fairly interesting right now. Oh man, the problem is that they committed for the engagement at the wrong time, or maybe the right time, because the front section also went through. Nice burning down, but unfortunately the front line. Oh!
Kraliyet mensupları.
Shenji grenade doing really good. The start is looking dark here. It was just a distraction, but that was enough for to allow Doc to get a to pull back a massive lead that AP had. Now we're looking at even fight. It's going to take a few seconds for AP to pull back in, but here comes the cavalry. Straight through that Madao. Very unfortunate to see. The Dows were probably severely wounded, can barely hold on as the cavalry and the Lancelot cleans them up. A re-establishment of the forces. We have an entire Lancelot unit here on the back supply point. My goodness, how long can they... Oh, never mind. That Lancelot unit just got cut in half as the companion cavalry is just making a mess of things.
Child's play.
Now let's see, what do we have here at the front? Lancelots. We got Lancelots from both sides, in fact. Smart move from AP. Pulls off the fight. They need to bide for time. Do we still think it's going to be an even fight? Slightly in favor of AP. Probably now only down to 2 or 3 units. But the cavalry, the companion cavalry are just Riding uncontested. The infantry should be able to kill out the medals, the leftover medals. Oh my goodness. They tried to trev it here. Oh my goodness. Zwanji heavy cavalry and companion cavalry is being sacrificed in the rear here. Play it slow, Doc. Play it slow. You have 2 artillery left. They're gonna change direction. They're gonna change direction. Gonna go through the center. This is the time to put grape shots down. Something to kill the heroes. AP looking very strong in their position. There's not very much. Whoa! And a Shenji grenade comes out and smashes that entire front line. This is off to a really bad start for Doc. But companion cavalry coming out from Doc hits the rear line, cleans them up. You just need the infantry line to win. Can you? We got Iron Cap scouts pushing through. We also have a contingent of Fenry running all the way around.
Gossip lingers all day long, drawing the sword to make it down.
Unfortunately, the infantry battle is just taking so long. Trying to win doesn't seem to be possible, as the heroes from Doc is dying one by one. I didn't even realize that there were only 7 left on the field. Probably less than that right now. Zwanji heavy cavalry comes in, but the race from the Badao is enough to stop them in their track, killing the Zwanji heavy cavalry. And one by one, the members from Doc do die. AP cleaning up the... yeah, only...
Scatter before my might.
Whoop, 3 members left now. We see 2 of them here. Another one dies. Better respawn. 25 seconds left. AP holds out. Wins the third placement for the AP AC. And Doc doing a really great effort. You were down quite a few units. And it goes to show that the units that did remain, there was not that many. Well, I mean, like, at one point you were, like, down. At one point you were down, like, 10 units. Now you're probably down only, like, 6. Or, well, yeah, about 6. It was an exciting battle for, third place. But AP wins with 3-1, winning both of the Bailus and the defense on Harbor City. Doc pulling off a Harbor City defense, and again, I'm kind of disappointed it didn't come down to a field battle, but if it did, I would expect that AP learnt so much from YYY that their field battle would be 100% better than last time. Doc is lagging just a little bit behind, but they can definitely put a good fight. I think Doc got some really cool strategy. Just the tools available at the time is inadequate. Definitely got hit by the Shenjis, and again, the AP Shenjis were, my goodness, so strong. The Siphonarios did not actually carry as much as I thought they would. Probably as the battles space out, the Siphonarioids are not as effective because they're hitting less units. Do have to remember that the Firestorm doesn't look like it has a cap. Their basic attack has a cap of 3 or 2, I forget. But it is Explosion. It is like an AoE kind of hitbox thing, so they can penetrate up to 2, but they can hit up to infinite. So if you have like an entire unit just in one space and it gets hit by the flame, the whole unit's going to be on fire. Nevertheless, as we can see from the get-go, the first fight so heavily in favor of AP. Second fight, not so much. In fact, they dragged it back. Maybe 3 units. The final fight, they lost it just to finish up. And I congratulate everyone for participating in the CBL, and thank you for fighting for third place. We'll get to see the finals next week on the 25th, I believe, between SKT and YYY. I do hope your team made it to the finals, but I am probably going to root for SKT in this case. Anyway, that is all for tonight. I'll see you guys next week, and I hope you have been enjoying my commentary for the APAC region tournament. I will try to follow up on the Eastern Conquerors and maybe get to see the internationals. For now, I'm going to send you over to the third place match for I believe it's the EU. I think the Americas one's a bit later, but anyway, that'll be all for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed my stream. But other than that, my name's Atsuko. Have a nice day. Bye.